Scott Dixon at Target Chip Ganassi Racing, who finished second today. Scott previously finished here second in 2006, 2007, both times to Elio. So we've got a third, second place to Elio. Additionally, Scott clinched the bonus 2 points for most laps led today. Scott, you made up some great ground at the start of the race. I think you moved up 2 positions on the first laps, led a lot of laps today. Talk about that battle with Elio, and especially the pass in turn 1 about lap 73.
Yeah, I don't know, the start went pretty good. I think everybody was pretty kind to each other, which was a big shock. I don't think there was any sort of cars going together, which was a great way to start the race, but everybody sort of dove for the inside, went to the outside, picked up a couple cars, and then strategy started to go a bit crazy. We missed the first one, which I think the 12 car and Dario ended up taking, which I got pretty angry on the radio, thinking that was going to be the strategy that was going to win the day. So it was kind of nice to see later in the race when we got the other yellow at a perfect time, which helped us in the end be on the right strategy. So yeah, it was a good day. You know, the car was decent. Car was really good for the first couple of laps, and then sort of about 10 laps in we started to lose a lot of grip and just couldn't keep the pace of the others. So at the end there, Elio sort of beat me out of the pits. I got him back into 4, and then a couple laps later he got me back into 1. And I don't know, I'm not sure we made the right decision on tyres. We went to use reds, which we'd abused pretty badly in qualifying, and they didn't seem to have that good a grip. So Elio was a man on a mission. I don't think we had the pace, and I was probably a little too cautious on turn 1 when he did go around the outside. I didn't push the envelope too much. I was just kind of trying to envision a finish here, so that's the way it went. But he was rocket ship fast and kind of in the class of his own today, so that was all we had.
Thanks, Scott. We've also been joined by Ryan Hunter-Reay of Andretti Autosport, who finished 3rd. This is Ryan's 2nd podium finish here on the streets of St. Petersburg. He finished 2nd here in 2009. Ryan, talk about today's race. During the broadcast, we could hear Kyle on the radio really pushing for you to save fuel there at the end.
Yeah, it was. It's interesting when you're in a fuel race. It's like fighting with one arm tied behind your back. Guys like Dixon and Franchitti and Elio and stuff like that, they're the best in the business of doing it. It really is an art to get to actually turn quick laps and save a lot of fuel. But yeah, I went through a period there for 4 or 5 laps where I was trying really hard to get the number they wanted, and it just wouldn't come out of the car. And, I thought I was going to end up going too slow, but figured it out, and then Scott started also backing up to me, so we were all saving fuel. And yeah, it's a good start to the year. Good strategy, and I only wish we could have fought at the end. Just really fought hard, because I think we had a really good car on used tires, old tires. I would like to have given that a shot, but it was the race we were running. So auto racing has been like that for many years. It's all part of fuel, and luckily Chevy had some good efficiency in there as well.
Thanks, Ryan. We'll go ahead and open it for questions. Just a reminder, we have a microphone, so please wait for it before you ask your question. Bruce?
How important was it to just start off the season with a nice, clean race?
Yeah, extremely important. I know Scott hasn't finished here in quite some time, and last year we were taken out from behind, so to really just start the season off on the right foot and log the points early, this race counts as much as the last one. So that was a big deal, and we want a points race this year, we really do. Last year I came out really aggressive, and this year I want to come out aggressive as well, but with the big picture in mind, and we want to fight for the championship. So. Yeah, that too. I didn't think about that. The boys and girls did a good job today, on the starts. I figured it was good. I figured with the long off season and carbon brakes, it was going to be a brain meltdown at times. But I was at times during those double file restarts, I was kind of like, I was waiting for the thud from behind, but it never really came. So that was a very nice surprise.
Yeah, I think it's important, especially for our side of the team. I think we've definitely struggled over the last few years, probably with the sort of string of the first 4 races. So You know, obviously you're going to be aggressive and you're going to try and, you know, change your style, you know, at all, but, you know, you're just going to focus on making the right decisions, I think, throughout the day. So, you know, all in all, it was a pretty clean race. I think a few of us touched occasionally, and you know, lap traffic was a bit of a pain at some points, but yeah, I think it's important to start the season strong. You know, Ryan hit it on the head. You know, this race pays the same amount of points as the last one, and consistency. You know, if you look back with Dario over the last couple of years, you know, that's what's won the championship.
Hi, I wish to ask both of you about Dan Wheldon. Obviously, his presence was here today. If he was not here himself, Ryan, after the race, you said something about the wound still being open. If you could talk a little bit about that, and then Scott, if you could add your thoughts.
Yeah, it is. It's only the next race since the tragedy happened in Vegas, so it is still wide open, the wound. And this is Wheldon's hometown, adopted hometown, I should say, his U.S. hometown, and he's just a great champion of our sport. I know every driver in this series wants to be like him in many ways. We all emulate him, and yeah, we love the Wheldons, and today was he was there with us today in every way. So we wish we could have him back. He was great for our sport in so many ways, but yeah, such is life. Not fair.
Yeah, I don't. You know, it's. You know, I think it is still so fresh, and being. I think in some ways it's almost fitting that the first race was in St. Pete. You know, not that you'd ever want it to happen, and if you could turn back time and change things, you definitely would. So, I don't know. I think you know, for me personally, I just missed the guy. You know, it sucks not to be able to turn around and see him, or you know, coming through a door with those bright white teeth sort of smiling at you. So it's you know, it's you know, it's tough to deal with, and you know, I think you know, it's nice to see Holly here, you know, this weekend, and you know, have her support. I think for a lot of the guys and teams that you know, she knows a lot of the people. So yeah, it just sucks. It just plain sucks.
Nate.
Nate, Ryan, you said kind of following up on that for both of you guys. Did it turn out? Was it harder than you thought it would be to do the race today, or was it about what you expected? And if I could get both of you maybe to react to Elio's celebration touching Dan Wheldon way. I don't know if you saw that. That was how he celebrated after.
I didn't see Elio. I saw him pull off in 10, which I figured, you know, he did that for a reason. What was your first part, sorry?
If it was harder than you thought it might be?
I think at some points, you know, I think it's different for everybody as well. But you know, even last night when I went to dinner with, you know, there was myself, Emma, Stefan, and Holly and Damati. You know, it's you know, it's the reflections when you look back and talk about the good times and you know, times you've eaten at that restaurant that we were at. So it's you know, I think it's important to keep the memory alive and you know, reminisce about what a great guy he was. You know, I think that's important. But yeah, I think it's tough. It has been tough this weekend, but you know, in some ways it's kind of nice to be fairly busy, and then when you're in the car, you focus so much, you know, on what you're trying to do and make sure you don't crash in the next corner. So you know, definitely thinking about the situation and him a lot, and you know, I think it's been hard for everybody.
Ryan, did you see the evening celebration?
No, I didn't. I saw him stopping there, and I figured he was getting out to climb the fence. And I remembered, yeah, at that point that was the corner where the tribute was made. And really seeing Susie and the boys last week was really that just tore it all wide open again. You know, it was great to see them. Reality set in too, and this is his track, and he's won here. And like Scott said, it just sucks not having him here. He's great for our sport. He should absolutely still be on track and fighting for race wins. But I think in a way it makes us all stronger too.
Jenna Fryer, AP. This may be the most naive question ever, but I'm wondering, passing was at such a premium. Why was that?
You saying there was a lot of passing? Or there was not?
Yeah. where I was.
I thought there was quite a bit of passing, especially in the first part of the race.
Yeah. Where'd you come from?
Yeah, I started 7th and got to the lead and then got past, so that was, there's 8 spots right there. Don't blame us. Blame the TV. It's, I thought the racing was good. I think at the end it was just a style of racing. You see it across the board. Once a fuel race starts to happen, everybody, it turns into more of a rhythm opposed to pushing the cars to its limits. You're trying to save it, and that's why the last 30 laps went great and no real accidents. So I was definitely thinking we're going to have at least one restart in that last whole window, but everybody was focused on trying to save fuel. So the first part of the race I thought was really good. It mixed up really good, and people were trying to pass.
Yeah, I think had it not been a fuel race at the end, you would have seen a lot more action.
Yeah.
It just happened to be when the yellows fell and the way it was, it just, the amount of laps that are here, it just happened to be a fuel race at the end. Otherwise, I think it would have been pretty action-packed, especially with the Reds falling off.
I know this track may not be the best test of it, but I was wondering if you guys think the Honda and the Chevy are pretty well matched, and if you saw one engine with any advantage over the other in any part of the track, like coming out of a corner or more toward top speed, or if you think they're pretty well balanced now.
I know this guy, I had a good run on him once, and I was like, here it comes, I'm going to get him. Big Chevy power, and it never happened, so. It was pretty evenly matched on that side of it, I thought. I had no idea what downforce he was running, that said, so.
I'm sure Chevy didn't want anything. We got some work to do in some areas that we know that we need to definitely achieve. But all in all, I think we've got a good package at the moment. Honda's a great outfit and a great company, and we'll be able to fight back in the certain areas that we need.
And certainly Chevy's shown they're strong, so hopefully we'll keep that going. They've been towards the top, occupying most of the top 5. So being a Chevy driver, hopefully that continues.
Patrick?
There's a lot of talk going into the race about brakes. How did they end up working out? I think that's some glazing issues, I think was the rumor, and then you had trouble heating them up, but if you heat them up too much, they lock up. That come to fruition during the actual event.
I didn't have any issues.
No, mine in the race were fine. I think we've had plenty of inconsistency with the brakes from the supplier, but that's a totally different subject.
And then finally, another one for Ryan. The Chevy teams are all screaming about keeping the revs up under yellows because of a voltage issue. Did you have to experience that?
Yeah, they're saying save fuel, so I'm putting around in 6th gear under yellow. And they say, okay, we need you to be in 1st gear from now on. And so I'm driving around, the thing's revved up completely and didn't feel right at all. But we have to do it to charge the battery. It's something that they're hopefully going to have changed for the next race.
Talking about the car on the flat track of a street course here compared to what you're going to have next week at Birmingham.
It's hard, it is a totally different circuit, and it's hard to know, sort of based off what's happened in testing. Things change, and obviously the track will be a lot different, and tyres probably different from what we tested last time we were there. So, I think we will be a little better suited there. I think we have a better package for a course like that, and you'll see that mix. Some cars will be better at this track than next week. So. I don't know. It's still a bit of an unknown until you get there and you see how qualifying sort of rolls out.
Brian, I believe you said on Friday that today would be the first test session of racing this car out here against other cars. So, with that concluded, how well do you think it did?
With the car, the engine, or the combination? Yeah, the whole thing. I mean, I learned quite a bit about it in the race, It's certainly going to help for my next race, and the team did as well, and fuel mileage. We learned about the battery charging issue, so there's many things that we need to fix just for next week to get it all right. So that's a good thing. That's what we wanted to do. We wanted to learn, we wanted to finish, and head on to Barber.
And do you think there'll be a little more aggressiveness from race to race to race?
I think that there was aggressiveness today. I think just everybody used their head. You know, I mean, Scott was certainly aggressive and pulled off clean moves today. So that was good.
Jim Tomlin, Tampa Bay Times. Scott, you were talking about your set of reds, used reds going off. Was that in the last segment?
Yeah, last stint. I think I gave them, I abused them way too much in qualifying. So I think, you know, we kind of knew that was going to be, you know, a possibility that, you know, my balance seemed to change a lot to a lot more understeer on the second, on the last stint there, the second time I was on red. So it's, it wasn't horrible, but, you know, I think if we'd actually run blacks, it might have been a better option, new ones.
And for both of you guys, can you address the track conditions after the rains overnight? And when you get a situation like that where the rubber gets washed away, is that more of a factor on a street course or a road course than everything on Norwood?
It certainly is a factor. It washes the rubber away, but no, I mean, we'll put the rubber down pretty quick on a place like this, especially. So, to me, I think the only difference that it rained overnight is we didn't get a warm up to try some things that we really wanted to try in the morning. That was the only difference to our day. So, not a big deal, really. We can put the rubber down pretty quick again. So, with 26 of these things going around, it happens pretty quick.
Okay, for Scott and Ryan, down here, guys. What did you said that this was a learning experience for cars and engines and things like that. What did you learn about how race control is going to call the races? If you both would talk about that. It seemed to me like it was like the referees in a basketball game letting the guys play and not calling, you know, ticky-tacky fouls all the time.
I think the racing was pretty good, but it was more on the fact that guys were kind of good to each other, opposed to, you know, I protected my line a couple of times, and you know, the last time I did it, it didn't really work out for me with Elio going around the outside. So, yeah, you know, I think there were other instances in the race that could have maybe called for, you know, an infraction or a penalty, but we didn't see. But I haven't seen the race, so I know what I did. And the people I was around, but as far as for the rest of the race, but it seemed to be pretty good.
Yeah, it was good. You know, after almost 7 years of a no blocking rule, because I came from car to champ car, and then straight into IndyCar when they had the no blocking rule, it's definitely different. It takes a second to get used to. Like when Scott defended one time, you know, it's like, oh yeah, you can do that. I forgot about that.
We're going to take our last question from Steve Keating.
After what obviously has been a difficult few months to come back here and everything that's been going on, is there any sense at all that there's some closure now to the Dan Wheldon staff, that you can move on now that this race is behind you, back to work, back in the car center?
He's a defending Indy 500 champ. He's a champion in our sport. I don't think it's going to go away. He's going to be on every ticket at Indy this year, and rightfully so. Like I said, a great champion of our sport, and it's just going to be, we don't want to forget about him, but it's going to be constantly there as well. So.
Yeah, I'm sort of meant like from an emotional standpoint for you guys, there's been so much going on in areas where obviously you'll never forget it, but can you get back to work a little bit easier?
I don't think it doesn't change your work ethic or the way you approach a weekend. It's just, you know, it's always in the back of your mind, and I don't think that's going to change. You know, as Ryan touched on, he was a great champion, and the memories are always going to be there. But as far as work ethic and the way you approach things, I don't, you might have a few more questions this weekend than what you do for the rest of the year, or, Indy, I'm sure is going to be tough as well for a lot of people, but no, it's not going to change anything in the way you remember him and who he is.
Well, Scott, Ryan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks.
Congratulations on the
Thank you.
podium finishes.